Now, well, if you lend me your ear for the next 14 minutes, I'm going to share with you 4 bank accounts that you need to have. Yes, let me repeat. I'm going to share with you 4 bank accounts that you need to have before we clock the year 2025. See what? The most important thing that you can ever do, I know you do have a goal, I know you do have a dream, you have to have that vision that you want to achieve a certain thing. But if you put your house in order as far as the finances are concerned, you be organized. You just don't do anything at any given time. You have that system or order that you usually follow. That will be the most thing that you can ever do. All right. By the way, don't forget this. This is Good Joseph. In case you're watching me for the first time, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe, and don't forget to leave me a comment on the comment section. Tell me, how many bank accounts do you have, or how many accounts do you have? Let's get on the business. All right. Now here we are. The very first account that you need to have, as far as before the 2025 shows up, you need to have an account that we call it the bills account. Obviously, the bills account. The bills account, basically, this is that account where all that money is meant to cater for your utilities, that the water, the electricity, it has to cater for your rent, has to cater for your transport, has to cater for food, the shopping, the groceries, the everything. That's the thing that actually runs your life. You need to have that bills account. The bills accounts, you can call it the personal account. All right. That simply means that you already know that a certain amount of money goes towards that particular account to cater for all that bills. If you pay your house 20,000, if you go shopping for 15,000, you know that is that 5,000. You pay for your electricity and the utilities, what have you in collection, that's another 5,000 out there. You also know that, hey, I need another amount of money maybe to cater for my, other subscription that I have and what have you. You make sure that money goes to what that particular account. That is already know, hey, you know what? The moment I get paid, obviously when we get paid, if you're employed, that money lands in what we call the landing account. See, or the current account. That's where the money comes in. Now, the moment that money lands that particular place, then you start distributing that money to various options. Now, the mistake that people do, or most of the people do, is to end up having a single account where everything is inside in that particular account. You have your savings there, you have your emergency fund there, you have your sinking fund there, you have your, I don't know, everything is just put up in one account. That way, you usually have this sort of, you kind of have what you call the clogging as far as the finances are concerned. It's always good to make sure that you spread that thing and you understand very well, so that when you go and check your bills account and you realize, hey, you know what? My bills account ought to have 35,000. My bills account ought to have 50,000. My bills account ought to have an X amount of money. So the way you are spending it, you now can tell, hey, you know what? The new month is not yet to come, but I'm seeing my bills account is actually running out of cash. And that's where you can be able to borrow between your accounts or among your accounts, and you can be able to pay back to that particular place. I hope I made sense on that particular, a particular submission as far as the bills account are concerned. I said it's the account that you keep your money to run your day-to-day activities, the bills, the rent, the utilities, the water, the what have you. That is exactly where you put that specific amount of money. All right. The other account that you need to have as far as the finances are concerned, this is what we call the sinking account. The sinking account. The sinking account basically is where you put your sinking fund. Sinking fund is that money that you already know you need it at that particular point. For example, I'm making this video in August of 2024. By the time now you're going to the new year, January. Oh, by the way, coincidentally, I'm making this video, barely like 5 days before the schools are open. You already know you need to pay your school fees. You already know sometimes maybe the some of the school uniforms or your children's uniform is actually worn out. You need to pay a new one, or rather buy a new one. Maybe hey, you know what? Shoes, they need shoes. You know what? They need shopping. You know what? They need some of their upkeeps. They need some sort of for those who are going for the boarding, they need something we used to call it. I don't know. That money used to be given. I haven't forgot the name. That money you need to have. Anyway, now the point is, you know that you already need that amount of money. For example, we're actually about to join the 2025, the new year, God willing. Yeah. At that particular point, you already know that maybe you have a kid that is transitioning to maybe different level of school. You need to pay the school fees. You need to do something. You already know that it's not an emergency fund. You already know I need that money at that particular time. So when you channel that money towards that particular account, you know very well. For example, let's say at the beginning of this year, you already knew that, hey, by the start of next year, I'll be purchasing something. let's say I want to purchase a land, or I want to commence on building my own home, or let's say I want to buy a car, or let's say I want to pay school fees, or let's say you want to take your kid to university or high school, or whatever the thing that you want to know. So you already know, and you know at that particular period of time, that is on January 2025, I'm needed or I'm required to have 300,000, for example. So you know very well, out of the salary that I earn, I have to set aside 10,000 solely, or 15,000, or whichever amount of money it is, solely for the dedication for me to raise that amount of money by the time that need arises, because it is there and it will be need that particular money. So that account is what we call the sinking fund. You want to buy a land, have that account. You want to buy something, you can have that account. You can have that account, okay? No, that particular account is what we call the sinking account. And by the way, if you ask me, if there is an account that is so much essential and important and that can actually help you to put your finances in order, is this what we call the sinking account. The sinking account, it is that helps you to understand, hey, you know what? I do have some money in that sinking account. I cannot touch it. Why? Because that is not an idle money. That is a money that you know, hey, you know what? That money is, I'm actually dedicating it towards achieving a particular thing. That is exactly how you do it. That's what we call a sinking account, because you are anticipating one day in future, you're going to be able to need that money, and that's how you progress yourself to the next level. All right, so far, have you gotten value so far? Give me the like if you haven't, and make sure that you subscribe and leave me a comment on the comment section. And by the way, if you would like to have a conversation with me, my number is always on the description of this specific video, so grab it, give me a shoot me a call or a text, or you can give me an email. I'll be able to respond on the same. All right, let's go to the point number 3. The point number 3, this is that account that we all know, we usually give this collective name called savings account. Savings account. Savings account, this is basically, well, we know very well sinking account and other savings account. But let me just use the name savings account, because savings, we do save for 3 reasons. Either we save to buy something, we save for the emergency fund, or we save for what we call, purchasing something, investing somewhere, or maybe emergency fund. Those are the 3 reasons why we save. And if your savings does not fall under those 3 accounts, I always tell people, just eat that money, because you don't just save. You save with particular goal, with particular aim, that if I reach at that particular point, I'll be able to need that money, I'll be able to do 1, 2, 3. So savings account is essential. And there's a video that I made, I dedicated a whole of 15 minutes explaining to you why you should automate. You should automate your savings. To automate your savings simply means that you're able to, sort of use technology, so that the moment the money, you see the way usually, do you see the way they usually did, what do you call it? Deduct the pay as you earn, the VATs and the what have you, the medical insurance and what have you. The way they usually just cut that money even before it lands to your place. That is exactly how I would like you to have that system integrated in your account, whereby the savings amount of money, or the savings that you say you're going to be saving, is directed towards that particular point. And this is a point that you find some people have this subscription with certain companies on the money market funds. For example, you have somebody that you have a certain money market fund that usually cuts a certain amount of money, and that money is channeled towards that account for the purposes. That is not just savings, but that is actually an investment. So when you automate that savings, then you can be able to say, hey, guess what? I'm dedicating. For example, I know there might be sort of a collusion between the sinking and the savings. But the sinking, this is the amount of, let's say your sinking fund, that you put money that is meant to buy, let's say, pay school fees, so paying school fees is not developing, that's not development. That is like, that's a recurrent expenditure. That's how can I frame it? That's just a sustainable. You just need to pay school fees. Just because you educate your kids and what have you does not mean you're developing. No, you're not. So saving is when you raise, you accumulate, you store that money, you raise a certain particular capital, and then you can be able to channel that money towards an investment that will bring you cash for the purposes of raising what you call the passive income. So savings and sinking fund, there is a thin line between those 2 things, but it is what it is. Just have yourself that savings account. Allow me to introduce the last account that you need to have. But so far, so good. Let me ask a question. So far, what account do you have apart from the current account, or what you call, the landing account, where they usually deposit that money, the account that you submitted when you're getting employed or when you are employed? What else account do you have, and what is it for? Because we usually have other satellite accounts like the CABS account, the gold account, the what account. Depends on exactly your needs. All right. Let's go to the last account. The last account. This is what we call the spending account. All right, the spending account. The spending account, this is basically where you keep that money. Obviously, I know you're a human being, you have needs, you need to buy this, you need to buy a good watch, you need to, go for that outing, you need to, vibe around, you need to just need to, you're a human being anyway. We aren't perfect beings per se. Then this spending account is when you usually know, hey, you know what? For example, in 3 months' time, we're gonna be on December. December is when we say it's a merry-making month, where everybody, almost everyone is having fun. Family is coming together and all those kind of things. And of course, that means money. Because even for going for a vacation, it means money. And I always tell people this: if you can sit down and try to figure out on how you can organize when you should be having fun, where you should be having it from, and those kind of nitty-gritties, that will help you very, very bigly. Why? Because it will be able to, sort of put your finances in order. You've catered for the must-haves, you've catered for the good to have, and this is now the nice to have. That is the vacation coming in, and also you've taken care of that particular thing. That way, you'll be able to put your finances in order. So spending account, this is where you put some other, payment things like, you know what, you need to pay your cable TV, you have the internet in the house. Although I know you may call it, under the what you call the bills account, but this one actually caters for, you need to buy yourself a shoe, you need to take your family out, you need to grab that coffee, you need to do all those kind of things. The black tax also comes in from that particular point. Hey, because in Africa, black tax is quite real. Okay, so those are just but 4 accounts that I believe you need to have them. And of course, you can add the emergency fund account out there, but that one I catered for a different video on a different place. But anyway, does it mean that you're supposed to go to a bank and open all these accounts? No, does not mean necessarily that. If you can have the number in your head, you know what, this goes for this and this goes for that. Maybe basically I would say you basically need like 3 accounts, the landing account, you also need the personal accounts, and then you need the development account. Then you have differentiation of those 3 accounts, you're good to go. I don't mean that you show up tomorrow morning with your particulars and then you're opening all the accounts that I said. No, first of all, put your thoughts together. Ask yourself, what do I need? Then tailor down or get your customized information of what exactly you need. Therefore, you can be able to move that. I don't mean that you need to have like 5 accounts or 6 accounts and what have you. No, just organize yourself and know, hey, I need an emergency fund account. Maybe that can be an MMF. You can have a landing account. Obviously, by default, that's your bank account. And then I need some sort of sinking account or spending account and something. You're done. Okay, this simply means, or the whole reason why I made this video is to just explain to you that it is good when you have that organization, that order. That's where you've compartmentalized this account such that they function independently. That will help you to make sure that at least you understand how your finances are going. Anyway, this is Good Joseph speaking, and as always, make sure that you subscribe because I upload a video each and every day so that you never miss a video. For now, it's goodbye and see you in the next one.